On, guys, today we'll be talking about the Atlanta Hawks and how do we fix them. So right now, I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you think? How do you fix the Atlanta Hawks so they can become the Eastern Conference champs? Well, get to the Eastern Conference. Haven't been the champs. So this was a team that they had the year before the 10th best net rating and the 8th best offensive rating. This past year they had the second best offensive rating, but their net rating fell down to the teens, and their defense slipped. And now when we look at that, what should they do? Okay, first off, there's a handful of players on this team. I think it's kind of interesting because they are in a juxtaposition. If they want to improve defensively, you're going to have to get rid of Bogdan and Danilo Gallinari, unless you choose to get rid of Kevin Huerter and keep Bogdan. I personally would trade Bogdan and Danilo Gallinari and try to get defensive wings. In the sense, imagine trading Danilo Gallinari for Royce O'Neal. I think Royce O'Neal would be perfect for this team. Imagine him being the small forward or the power forward next to John Collins playing center, and you have DeAndre Hunter at small forward, Kevin Huerter, or whoever else you want to run. You could say, and if the defensive lineup, you might want to go. First off, they also have to bring back DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright needs to be brought back. He showed defense. Okay, that'll back up Trey. Kevin Huerter. It's just interesting when you look at this because Lou Williams going to leave, but you need DeLon Wright back there because Sharif Cooper's not going to give you defense. Now you go over to shooting guard, and that's where it gets difficult. Kevin Huerter and Bogdan, two guys who aren't good at defense. Skylar Mays is pretty decent. Well, that's where you got to look into free agency, or look for a move that you can bring in someone who's just a really good defender. And at the same time, a guy like Chris Boucher would be awesome to be splitting time with John Collins, if I have to say so myself. But I think a point guard like Ricky Rubio would be awesome because then you can tell DeLon Wright to be a backup shooting guard, trade Bogdan, start Kevin Huerter, have DeLon Wright back up, Kevin Huerter, Ricky Rubio back up, Trae Young right here. All right, that's some good defense right there coming in. And then, look, one of the things I think is interesting, then you'll be DeAndre Hunter at small forward, probably Jalen Johnson backing him up. And if you trade Bogdan, you're probably going to trade Danilo Gallinari. So Jalen Johnson could honestly back up John Collins and DeAndre Hunter, depending on the lineup, and Onyeka could back up Clint and John Collins. You could also move from, Clint Capela if you need to, but it's defense, okay? The Hawks finished the regular season with a bottom 5 defensive rating. Almost every championship team is a top 10 in both offensive and defensive ratings. DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capela regressed this season, but they're all capable defenders in their own right. On the other end of the floor, like I said, the Hawks had the second best offensive rating, the third, the second best offensive rating and three-point shooting percentage during the regular season. Obviously, that all dried up against the Miami Heat when they applied defense, and Trae Young struggled immensely, and Nate McMillan deserves some of the blame because Nate McMillan either failed to prepare for the game plan that the Heat came out with, which would be an easy task to counteract, or was unable to make the necessary adjustments throughout the series to win. And look, there are some silver linings that expose the Hawks' flaws in such a brutal and humiliating way that Atlanta has no other way but to improve. And for it's effort, defense, coaching, overall brand, and all that stuff. And they need a Pat Bev. They need a dog. Obviously, if they could trade for Marcus Smart, that'd be cool. But I think Ricky Rubio, we saw what he helped instill in Cleveland. I know he only was there for a little bit. A PJ Tucker's another example of that. I think Gary Payton would be a really cool guy for them. Just look at defensive dogs, guys who are going to go, hard to the wall. But yeah, it really just comes down to, I personally think, get rid of Danilo Gallinari, Bogdan. Try Clint Capela one more year. If Clint Capela continues to regress or doesn't get back to where he used to be, where he was the previous year, let's trade him. Put Onyeka there next to John Collins. Then you run DeAndre Hunter, and then Kevin Huerter and Trae Young. Off the bench, Jalen Johnson, Sharif Cooper, DeLon Wright. You could also argue that, the other players that they should have out there, because it would be DeLon Wright, Sharif Cooper, Kevin Huerter. Kevin Knox would probably be brought back, maybe. I don't even know. I kind of like Timothy Luau Cabarro at times, and Gorgie Dang as a third center. I didn't think that was terrible. There could have been worse people, but I want to hear your thoughts down low.